Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the graduation ceremony of Specialized Undergraduate Pilot Training Class 2305 AU. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Matthew CICHOWSKI, Commander, 8th Flying Training Squadron, training students in the mighty T-6 Texan II.
And I'm Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Hughes, Commander of the 71st Student Squadron.
Today's ceremony is a once-in-a-lifetime event. As such, we encourage you to come forward and take pictures or videos when your loved one is presented an award or their wings. For your planning purposes, the wings are presented by rank, then alphabetical order.
Please stand for the entrance of the platform party and remain standing for the national anthem of the United States, followed by the invocation given by Chaplain King.
If you're so inclined, would you join me for a word of prayer? Oh Lord our God, we are thankful that we come to you today with deep gratitude in our hearts for all the gifts that you give us. What an honor to call upon you on behalf of this class. Oh Lord, we ask that you would grant your blessings to this class for protection, for health, for excellence in all things. Guard and guide the men and women who fly through the spaces of the sky. Support these pilots and their families that have brought them here, and may through their efforts, freedom prevail. Finally, I implore your blessings upon the men and women of the 71st Flying Training Wing as we continue to deliver world-class pilots to defend our nation. As these celebrate this long-awaited day, give the families safety as they return home. Give us each safety as we continue to serve. Encourage and guide each of us. Keep us always close to you. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain King, for the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Today, 22 officers will receive their wings. On behalf of Colonel Jay Johnson, I would like to welcome the families and friends of Class 2305 AU, as well as several members of Team Vance, including squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, spouses, and our ASRC and Amentum contractors.
We are honored to have the following guests from our wing leadership here to support the graduates. The Mayor, City of Enid, the Honorable George Pankinen, and his spouse, Melody. The spouse of the Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, Mrs. Kristen Johnson. The Commander, 71st Operations Group, Colonel J.P. Pauls and his spouse, Yana. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Operations Group, Chief Master Sergeant Benjamin Poleski. The Commander, 71st Mission Support Group, Colonel Paul Miller, and his spouse, Michelle. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Mission Support Group, Chief Master Sergeant Eric Thomas. The Commander, 71st Medical Group, Colonel Richard Speakman, and his spouse, Melissa. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Medical Group, Chief Master Sergeant Leslie Finley. The Director of Maintenance, 71st Flying Training Wing, Dr. Sherry Teague. Additionally, we are honored to have the following distinguished visitors as special guests of Class 2305 AU. Please stand or wave your hand to be recognized. Air National Guard Assistant to the Director, Medical Operations, Office of the Surgeon General, Headquarters United States Air Force, Brigadier General James Perry. Colonel Edward M. Topps, United States Air Force, retired.
We would also like to give a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Major General Albert G. Miller, Director of Training and Readiness, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, Headquarters Air Force, and the Commander of 71st Flying Training Wing, Colonel J. Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Johnson.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My privilege to welcome you to Vance Air Force Base and what we like to call Enid America. Today is an incredible day in the lives of these 22 young men and women as we get ready to graduate Class 2305. Mayor Penkin and Melody, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you. If you don't know, the relationship between the City of Enid and Vance Air Force Base is absolutely incredible. The best I have seen in my 24 years of doing this. They're here to support us in every event, whether on or off base. You guys truly understand how important our mission is to the nation. We thank you for being here. We appreciate you. To my fellow wing leaders, group squadron commanders, chiefs, to our government civilians and contract teammates, to all of Team Vance, thanks for being here today. This day is not possible without the efforts that you and your airmen put forth every single day. I'd also like to welcome our distinguished visitors. In our presence today, we've got members of several branches of the U.S. military, both active guard and reserve. You and those that have gone before you have paved the way for us to be here today, so I appreciate you being here. General Perry, thank you for being here, sir. A round of applause, please, for our military members. All right, my favorite group of folks here, to our spouses, fiancés, those that want to be fiancés. It's funny because it's true. It gets a laugh every time. Moms, dads, grandparents, brothers, sisters, children, extended family members, and friends of Class 2305. Thanks for being here today. You have provided these graduates with the foundation they need, the principles, the moral compass, the grit, and the necessary work ethic that it takes to get through what is an extremely demanding program. So thanks for traveling to be with us here on this great day. So a round of applause for our families, please. All right, by way of introduction, Vance is one of 4 Air Force bases in the United States Air Force whose primary mission is undergraduate pilot training. In my unbiased opinion, we are the best in the world at doing that. We train these folks to go on in a variety of aircraft across the Air Force, as well as air forces of our partner nations. And we do that to incredible standards every single day. Vance has delivered over 35,000 world-class aviators since we started doing this in 1941. That list includes such notables as General Richard Myers, the 15th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the former Air Force Chief of Staff, General Ronald Fogelman, and the first female to command a shuttle mission, Colonel Eileen Collins. So Class 2305, make no mistake, you're graduating on sacred ground. Air Force heroes have walked the flight rooms that you've walked and learned to fly with Victor November on the tail flash, and I have no doubt that you'll follow in their footsteps and make all of us Vance proud. So 2305, in the seats next to you are fellow airmen with whom you share a special bond, even if you don't realize that yet. Whether it's academics, initial solo, the dunk tank, track select, soon to be assignment night, although you go in different directions from here, I promise you that the memories that you made will only get better with time. So here we are. You're about to earn your wings. I ask you to remember this. It is not a right, it's a privilege. It's a privilege given and taken by those that have preceded you, and it's a privilege which you soon will be empowered to extend to those that follow. That's part of what makes this a profession. It takes a total team effort to get you guys to these seats here today, and I'm very proud of that collective effort. We pour a ton of resources in these students. If I told you that we had already spent $1 million to get each one of them to these seats, I'm probably on the low side, and we're just getting started. But it's not just the money, it's the people and the time and the effort that gets put into generating these pilots and these future leaders. And we have a group of over 2,600 folks that show up every single day, whether they're government civilians, contractors, or folks in uniform, to make sure that you guys can fly your mission and get to these seats here today. So among them are 3 groups I'd like to quickly single out. Although they are the least represented here in this room today, are instructor pilots. These men and women have molded these graduates into professional aviators, and they deserve special thanks. The very reason that few of them are in here with us today is because they are in the skies above you right now with Class 2306 and 07 and 08. They're in academic rooms, they're in simulators, making sure that the next class is ready to follow you. So please, a round of applause for our instructor pilots. The second group I'd like to recognize our amazing team of professionals who maintain our aircraft. Pilots break them and maintainers fix them, and you guys are really, really good at breaking airplanes. Don't look at me and tell me you haven't broken an airplane while you're here, because you all have broken an airplane. We have an incredible team of government civilians and contractors here that make sure our fleet of 209 airplanes are ready to go on any given day. We're flying them between 200 and 250 times a day. We've got Dr. Sherry Teague and her team back there to make sure the quality of the airplanes is where they need to be. And Mr. Pete Schneider and our Momentum contract partners that make sure we have safe airplanes every single day. So please, a round of applause for our maintainers. Third and final is our fantastic group of men and women that make up our services. So whether it's cops, services, finance, dental, flight medicine, just to name a few. If those folks don't show up and do their job every day to make sure that you guys can focus on becoming an Air Force pilot, we don't get to this stage here today. So please, a round of applause for our support personnel. All right, lastly, I want to share 2 questions with you that will never go away as long as you wear Air Force wings. This is the Kevin Bacon game of being an Air Force pilot, right? They're going to ask you where you went to pilot training and what class were you in. I guarantee you, it's going to happen over and over again. So why do we do that? It's a credibility game. How fast can I get to somebody that knows and trusts you, that I know and trust, right? And make that connection. And so here's the deal. You went to Vance, you're class 2305. It does not get any more credible than that. So when asked that question, you stand up tall and you proudly say you went to Vance in your class 2305. Welcome to the long blue line. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my honor and my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today, Major General Albert Miller. General Miller is the Director of Training and Readiness, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations at Headquarters U.S. Air Force in the Pentagon, everybody's favorite place there in D.C. in the National Capital Region. In that role, he's responsible for policy, guidance, and oversight of Air Force operational training, infrastructure, officer and enlisted operations, career field management, operational readiness and reporting, and aircrew management, and a lot more that we're not going to list out here. He's a 1992 graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy and a command pilot with more than 4,100 hours in the C-17, KC-135, and C-12. He's a Laughlin graduate, but we don't hold that against him. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Albert Miller.
So Colonel Johnson just talked about credibility and stand up proud, and then he turns around and tells you that the Pentagon's everybody's favorite place, so I'm not sure that all that credibility is there. Mayor Pankinen, Ms. Johnson, all the leaders here, especially Colonel Johnson, it's a privilege to be here and share this day with these amazing airmen in this once-in-a-lifetime event for them and their families. You listed off a whole bunch of people that needed thanks. I'll tell you that, yes, absolutely, the IPs and maintainers and, you know, the aircrew flight equipment, the logistics squadron, the security forces. None of this happens without all of that, but it also relies on strong leadership, which you provide every single day. And so my hat's off to you all, and I'd like to ask for a round of applause for the leaders of Vance. All right, so we were just sharing a few words with the graduates prior to the ceremony today outside, And again, your credibility came into question. You admitted you lied to him on day 0, right? Did you not? Those were your exact words. I think I lied to you on day 0, right? That he would trade spaces with them on day 0. He told him today he'd really trade spaces with them today, and I would echo that, right? I would trade spaces with you today, any day, twice on Sunday. You have the world at your hands. There are countless people that wish they were sitting in the seats you're sitting in today. And don't ever lose sight of the fact that you worked really, really hard, put in countless hours, and what you have achieved, is something that you should be very proud of. And not everybody gets the opportunities that you've had to get there, and you grabbed the bull by the horns and you took advantage of the opportunities. And that's the advice I'd give you going forward. So going forward, the Air Force is all about meritocracy, right? And it's all about how you do your job. And as he described, part of what I do in my job at the Pentagon is we shape the expectations of all the career fields for the rated force. And we just got done redoing all the career field briefs for the rated force. And I will tell you, the first line we put in there is that for the operational community, we value experience and expertise in your primary duties. So what do I mean by that? As you go forward as aviators, as pilots, that should be what you focus on primarily. How do I become the best, whatever it is, right? Whether that's an F-16 pilot, C-17 pilot, RC-135 pilot, whatever it is that you end up doing, that should be your focus. I will tell you, if you haven't read the National Defense Strategy, we are in this decisive decade already. We've already entered it. We have a pacing challenge that is rapidly catching up to us, and it is our collective job to make sure that we remain the preeminent Air Force in the world. We're the envy of the rest of the world. We collectively need to make sure that we remain that envy of the rest of the world. We are the only nation that can put air power on any point in the globe in a matter of hours, whether that be global reach, global power, global vigilance. Whether we're showing up with an open hand or a clenched fist, we're the Air Force that can do that, and you're the next generation that's going to continue to do that. All right? So I need you to make sure that every day you wake up and you go, I'm going to be the best pilot I can be, whatever type of pilot that is, because we all need to hone our skills. The adversary is catching up. We need to make sure they don't catch us. All right? All right, today you should be, I'm not lecturing you, right? You should be proud today. I loved when we were shaking your hands, the big beaming smiles. It's absolutely appropriate. The amount of hours and sweat and tears and agony and maybe a redo here and there, so the letdowns that might have come, but you've made it, right? Today you're going to walk across this stage and you're going to put those wings on that you have dreamed about for years, I'm sure. And this should be a very proud day for you. And for those family and friends, I hope you share that pride with them, and the thanks that Colonel Johnson gave you is absolutely deserved. These folks down here would not be here today had they not been brought up in homes that gave them the foundation that got them to where they're at today. The love and support that they knew they could rely on when the days got tough, right? And for those wannabe fiancés, why wouldn't you, right? This is the future of our nation. So you all should be equally proud as they are, and I hope I see a lot of smiles. Again, a reminder, I told you before, but this is for the families. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing as they come across the stage. If you want to take one more picture or pose us in a different way or something like that, this is your day too, so make sure that you get what you want. We don't need to be stiff as much as people think the Air Force is stiff. We can have some fun today. It's all right. Colonel Johnson said to you all, right, we've been around for a lot of years. So 93-14, so almost 30 years ahead of you, right? Not quite. I'm not that old. But I remember this day like it was yesterday for myself, okay? and you will remember this day for forever. And so let's make sure that we have some fun. I've had fun throughout my 30-plus years. That's why I stayed in uniform. I stole this from somebody else, right? I stay in the Air Force because I see value and importance in what I do in an organization that shares my values with people that I respect, right? That's what keeps me in the Air Force. And it's fun every single day. There are letdowns. You'll have the bad days, but the bad days far outweigh the good. And you have a lot of great things ahead in your future. All right, you didn't come to listen to me. One last piece of advice. I tell this to every young crowd of airmen that I meet, and I tell my own children that at the end of the day, yes, I need you to be the best pilot, right? That's what you should strive for is operational excellence. But what will carry the day is your attitude, right? People will bend over backwards for you if you have a good attitude, a good professional attitude, always striving to make yourself better, and always being that positive individual. You will find opportunities will open up for you because of the attitude you present to the people you work with. So that's my advice I give to people is make sure you have a great attitude. People will recognize that. People will afford you opportunities because of your attitude. All right, I'm done. Congratulations to the graduating class. Thanks to everybody that had a part in playing, to getting them here, to walking across this stage today. And I look forward to joining us in the operational community and doing great things, keeping us the best Air Force in the world. Thanks, everybody.
Major General Miller, on behalf of Vance 2305 AU, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation for being a part of this special occasion.
That's really cool. Thank you.
We will now recognize those individuals who excelled in one or more phases of training. The new pilots competed for academic, leadership, and flying training awards, as well as the top wingman, distinguished graduate, and the coveted AETC Commander's Trophy. Each phase of training was carefully weighed, and only a slight margin separated the top performers. Colonel Speakman will now present the Academic Excellence Award to the pilot whose overall academic test averages exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the academic award is, for Class 2305 AU, Second Lieutenant Zachary F. Kennison.
Colonel Miller will now present the Leadership Award. The Leadership Award is presented to the officer who demonstrated outstanding leadership qualities and potential throughout this most rigorous and demanding military training program. The recipient of the Leadership Award is Second Lieutenant Rosalind J. Rotello.
And now, Colonel Pauls will present the Flying Training Award. The Flying Training Award is presented to the pilot whose daily flying performance and check ride scores exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the Flying Training Award is Second Lieutenant Zachary F. Kennison.
Colonel Johnson will now present the Top Wingman Award. Selected by their peers, the Top Wingman Award is presented to the graduate who epitomized the support and teamwork critical to being a great wingman. The recipient of the Top Wingman Award is Second Lieutenant Jonathan J. Veda.
Colonel Johnson will now present the Distinguished Graduate Awards. To be selected for this honor, a student must maintain an exceptionally high average in all phases of training and finish in the top 10% of the class. The first recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Award is Second Lieutenant Zachary F. Kennison. The second distinguished graduate is Second Lieutenant Gavin T. Doring.
Finally, the most prestigious trophy that the Air Education and Training Command presents to a pilot training graduate is the AETC Commander's Trophy. This pilot excelled in both flying and academics and demonstrated the initiative and leadership qualities essential to the professional Air Force officer. Additionally, they personify the tenets of the Order of the Dedalians, a group dedicated to military aviation, personal integrity, and patriotism. Major General Albert Miller will present the special award reserved for the officer who attained the highest overall rating throughout the program. The winner of the AETC Commander's Trophy is Second Lieutenant Zachary F. Kennison.
Get busy.
We're going to have to make pilot training harder for Zach.
And now, the time that we have all been waiting for. Colonel Johnson will formally present the diplomas and pilot wings to our graduates. As they exit the stage, they will receive a commemorative coin with their unique graduation number from the 71st Student Squadron First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Kerry Wilson. The new pilots' families and friends are invited to pin on the Air Force wings following the graduation ceremony.
Having completed the required course of training, the following officers from Class 2305 AU are awarded Aeronautical Rating of Air Force Pilot. Second Lieutenant Ian R. Bell.
Second Lieutenant Tanner B. Cedrone.
Second Lieutenant Dylan A. Clements.
Second Lieutenant Gavin T. Doring.
Second Lieutenant Joshua M. Porte.
Second Lieutenant Bradley J. George.
Second Lieutenant Lauren A. Gullick.
Second Lieutenant Zachary F. Kennison.
Second Lieutenant Colin D. Killens.
Second Lieutenant Sidney E. Luke.
Second Lieutenant Andrew S. Perry.
Second Lieutenant Ethan C. Radcliffe.
Second Lieutenant Rosalind J. Rotello.
Second Lieutenant Caleb A. Suhu.
Second Lieutenant Jacob R. Taylor.
Second Lieutenant Joel E. Tops.
Second Lieutenant Kalisa R. Torbenson.
Second Lieutenant Jonathan H. Veta.
Second Lieutenant Matthew K. Warner.
Second Lieutenant Connor F. Williams.
Second Lieutenant Eric L. Wolmer.
Second Lieutenant Eric R. Wunsch. At this time, Colonel Johnson would like to recognize the instructor pilots selected by Class 2305 AU who most embodied Air Force core values during T6 training and provided exceptional mentorship and instruction. These instructors were selected by the class to represent the time-honored tradition of the breaking of the wings. Colonel Johnson will present the recipients with a plaque prior to the reading of this hallowed poem. Receiving the award from the 8th Flying Training Squadron, Major Adam S. CICHOWSKI and Lieutenant Grant A. Mitten.
The breaking of wings. Since man started flying, he has taken to the air with a certain amount of risk. To counter peril, a tradition was established years ago when the Army Air Corps started issuing pilot wings to their aviators. This tradition is called the breaking of wings. At every UPT graduation, the Air Force issues to new pilots their first pair of wings. As tradition has it, that first pair should never be worn by the pilot.
To bring good fortune to their aviation career, the novice pilot should break the emblem into two parts. One half is kept by the new pilot. The other half is given to someone of significance in their lives. To preserve that good luck, those two halves should only be brought together again in the next life, promising successful flight through eternity. We invite today's graduates to take part in this tradition at a time and place of your choosing following the ceremony.
Class, teenage hoop. About peace. Ladies and gentlemen, your 22 newest and best trained Air Force aviators.